everybody. We're the Tri-State Sports Guys. I'm O. This is Mike. I don't even know why you introduced him anymore. He's never here. Tony D.
He's out covering the NBA labor talk.
I think he's actually negotiating.
He's in there with, yeah.
Mike T behind the ones and twos as always. Top of the Cape Ready Studios here at Norwalk. Got a lot to get to today.
We do. We're covering
Potpourri.
We really are.
Let's get to the Yankees.
Yeah.
It's over. Lights are out at Yankee Stadium. Awful loss.
It was just more of the whole series was just kind of didn't play out the way you thought it was going to play out. Obviously, with the way it opened up with Game 1 getting rained out or suspended.
It's a big letdown. Exactly.
It was
You're
just
right.
weird, but it seemed like that would play into the Yankees' favor.
It should have.
Then it set up for this big, oh my God, all sports talk had been talking about A.J. Burnett and how he's killed them. He comes up and pitches a big game.
He's the only guy who produced.
Yeah, all the things that they thought they didn't have a problem with. Well, they have a bona fide ace. Well, he didn't pitch well. They have these studs in the middle of the lineup. None of them hit, you know?
Yeah.
And the one guy that they were bashing, actually the two guys that got bashed all season long were A.J. Burnett, who pitched well, and Jorge Posada was their MVP of the series.
Yeah.
Every time they needed a big walk, he came up with. He batted 380 or whatever he batted. And he was fantastic.
We're gonna post an article on the website pretty soon. Some of my thoughts on the Yankees.
Yeah.
It's amazing how good they are over a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think they're built for the playoffs because they have a big ace. They have a lot of offensive firepower. But I just don't know that they... at some point, you have to realize Mark Teixeira can't hit good pitching.
Yeah.
That's why he's a 240 hitter. He used to be a 300 hitter. I don't know what's gone on.
Well,
but you have to realize...
I honestly think the Yankee Stadium has played... He did not have that kind of uppercut his whole career.
He
Maybe
says
he did.
that,
I didn't study
he
it.
Says that it's affected him, but I don't know. I mean, maybe you try to uppercut at home, but he tries to uppercut all the time.
Well, because you can't turn it on and off. It is his swing has
suppose.
adapted to that. I think that's a problem.
And speaking of can't hit good pitching, Nick Swisher definitely can't hit good pitching.
No.
He's a lifetime under 200. I think Teixeira's like at 200. And poor A-Rod. I was at the game, and I turned to my buddy, and I said, my buddy Franco, and I said, I could tell there was no doubt in my mind A-Rod was going to make the last half of the game. And I said it like 7 outs before.
Yeah.
You could just tell that it was just setting up that way. And he always finds himself in the middle of the situation, bases loaded.
Yeah, Tony posted that stat that ESPN posted about how many games he's ended or what's happened in the final inning of an elimination game.
My issue with him is not that he gets out, because at some point I realize he's facing good pitches because people are bearing down on him.
Yeah.
But he always seems to strike out in those situations.
Yeah.
Can't he just pop out one time?
The thing is,
because you pop out, you're gonna at least produce something.
If you watch him, and maybe this is overanalyzing it, but it seems like in each of those at bats, each of those big at bats of the series,
I know
he has one good pitch.
He's gonna have one pitch to hit,
and he fouls it back, which he never used to foul back. Even in the big strikeout he had with the bases loaded, he had a pitch to hit, he fouled it back, and then nobody was gonna hit that splitter that he struck out on the bases loaded against Benoit. I mean, that was a tough pitch, but the A-Rod of old doesn't miss the one mistake.
Yeah.
And at this point, it would be easy to say maybe he's getting old and he had these injury issues, but he looked actually very good at third base. And we talked about that last week a little bit. Maybe his swing is just slowed down because he does not.
He's just not an elite.
He doesn't get the balls in the inside part of the plate.
The past 2 years, he's been a 2.7 hitter. He's still a good player, but A-Rod at his height was hit over 300 and was a force. And he's not. He's station to station.
Right.
And people were yelling that he didn't score from second. I was there. He would have been out by 50 feet.
Yeah, right. He isn't going to.
It's just that he's just not fast.
The guy, yeah. I mean, at this point, he's in the twilight of his career. And a couple months ago, we had top 10 worst contracts in the history of sports, and I had A-Rod up there in the top 2. I don't remember where I had him. I mean, think about, he is signed through 2017. And I know, we talk about, and a lot of people talk about the Yankees having this unlimited amount of money to spend, which is a great blessing to have. But one of their problem is when you do have all this money, you give out these huge contracts, and it makes their...
You don't have flexibility.
They have no flexibility. I mean, that's one thing you could say about the Rays. They're never going to be bogged down by some 8-year contract.
They have that going.
They have that going for them. But you see a lot of teams, they wind up getting bogged down by these huge deals, and they can't move a guy. And the Yankees are talking about what they're going to do in the offseason. And realistically, what are they going to do? They're probably going to re-sign. Their catcher's going to probably be the same. They're probably going to re-sign Martin because they don't think Montero's going to be an everyday catcher.
Yeah.
He's going to slide into the DH role, they think, but that's always going to be a question mark. You have a guy who hasn't done it over the course of a season. And then they're talking about a right fielder and replacing Nick Swisher.
Yeah. All they're going to, in my mind, They're either going to start Montero, but part of me believes they're still going to try and trade him for a big pitcher.
That's what I would do.
But I think that they're going to first try and get C.J. Wilson. I don't know how in love with Texas he is. After all, it is Texas, and pitchers don't usually do well there. So,
but the problem is, so I agree with you. I mean, in an ideal world, what I would say to do is you trade him for a big pitcher, and then with all the turmoil going on in Red Sox Nation, you go out and you sign Big Papi for 3 years. But they can't do that because they need to be able to give A-Rod the flexibility to play some DH.
I actually think they shouldn't sign C.J. Wilson.
Well,
because I think that this time... Now, I've only seen Montero for a little while, but if either they're overhyping him or they believe he's the next Manny Ramirez, and if he's the next Manny Ramirez, I'm going to go trust my 3 stud pitchers in the minor leagues to figure something out. Because if I have the next Manny Ramirez in my hands, I'm keeping that guy. Right. Now, I don't really know if they really believe that or they're
hit 280 in the minor leagues this year, right? 280 something.
He's got 16. A lot of oppo power.
Look, the guy has oppo power. He'll play well in that stadium. You know, the ball flies.
But who knows? Something's going on with them. And I told you this, and I didn't think he was going to play at all this year.
Yeah.
Something about they don't like something about him. And
he's lazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's his defense. I think it's something about his makeup that they don't like. And I think that stuff you don't fix.
And I mean, if he's going to be at this early stage of his career, he's already being pigeonholed into a DH role. You don't see that very often. That's really limiting this guy. He's got to produce like Manny Ramirez. Yeah. If you're going to be a guy in your early to mid 20s, and they're basically saying maybe they'll give him a first baseman's glove because he might play on a Sunday and he might catch 30 games, but basically he's going to be their DH. How many DHs do you know that are DHing when they're 24? Travis Hafner. I mean, there really hasn't been a lot of those.
Let's talk about CC Sabathia.
Yeah.
You know I've been down on him.
You have been down on this dude since
before
even when
anyone.
He was pitching well. You hated him when he was pitching well.
I didn't hate him when he was pitching well.
Yes, you did. You used to text me every time.
I found that to be fair, there was an alarming pattern, and you know I was you're right. I was talking about this in May. That guy, any Yankee fan who really watches the games will tell you, it seems like nobody gives up more hits, especially with 2 strikes than CC Sabathia. Now, early May and June, he gets out of it because he was dominating. At the end of the year, he did. And exactly what happened. I texted you from the game. He gets out. He gives up a hit to Austin Jackson, the only guy in the playoffs who's given up a hit to Austin Jackson, it seems. Then he gets 2 strikes on Victor Martinez, and he hangs a slider. And that wound up being the deciding run. Typical CC Sabathia.
Now, were you one of the guys, and I put it on Facebook when it happened, but the day after, there were people calling up the fan.
No, I saw that you put that.
Saying that, I mean, they have to resign him. You agree with that?
Yes.
I won 21 of the 19 games.
I put on there, I hope people just don't think it's CC's fault or it's Girardi's fault. It is everybody's fault. There were a lot. It's not just A-Rod's fault. You know, I'm tired of people blaming A-Rod. Explain to me, when is it a good baseball play? I don't understand this. Yankees are down by 1. They have Brett Gardner, who's the fastest guy in the world, on first base.
Mm-hmm.
And he steals on the first pitch and Jeter swings. With 2 outs. Explain to me when that's a good play.
Makes no sense.
And everyone's like, well, he almost hit it out. You know what? That's what he didn't hit it out.
Right. He didn't hit it out.
And even if he hit it out, you would have been like, wow, that was risky because there's no point.
No, there really isn't.
There's no point.
Especially when you have a guy who's supposed to be a top order guy who's got bat control. He can handle the bat down in the count. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Who would you rather have up? I would want nothing more than Derek Jeter up with a runner on second. Him runner on first, unless he hits a ball somewhere in a corner.
Right.
Gardner's not scoring. Take the pitch. It was the first pitch.
I agree with you, and
no one says a word. That's a big
other than
spot.
Jimmy Pellegrino and that Facebook contingency, they were all over.
That was an awful at bat.
That was an awful at bat, and it's not Jeter because he has made a career of taking that pitch.
It tells me that he probably felt like no one else seems to be doing. But you know what? Who was on that? Granderson. He seems to be doing all right. Granderson was one guy I wasn't worried about.
Right.
So, but we'll see this in my writing. I don't think Girardi knows how to properly manage this team. He's too much of a I'm going to sit back. And in those types of games, he managed that bullpen, that game, like it was a Game 7, but he didn't manage the offense that way, and I didn't understand that.
Right.
He had no problem taking people in and out of that game on the mound. Why did Montero not get in that bat there with Russell Martin up with the bases loaded?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Russell Martin did have big hits for you during the season.
But you're not going to hit for Posada because Posada is smoking the ball.
Yeah, right. The only best.
If you're ever going to take out Russell Martin, it's a bases loaded. You need a guy to hit the ball in the outfield. You don't. Why is he on your bench if you're not going to ever use him?
Well, I mean, I didn't think right there. I didn't think it was a bad play. I really didn't think it was a bad play.
I thought it was an awful play, and that was not a second guess. When
You're
else
gonna put in
would
a rookie in there, right there. I mean, Russell Martin has come up with big hits,
But he
He's got
wasn't. He
playoff-
wasn't. He wasn't hitting well in the playoffs.
It's 4 games, though. They were playing. It's been 4.5 games. You go over the course of a whole season. Now you're gonna look at a guy with 4.5 games.
You know what?
I'm not one of
but
those.
but then I would submit to you, it's the same reason that he's taking everyone out after 2 batters. It's a game. It's a game 5.
Well, but you could see a pitcher not having it in a game. I mean, Ivan Nova came out because he was hurt.
I would have wanted nothing more than to put Montero up there, because no one would have said why'd you bat
No,
him
but you're
there?
right. It would not have been a thing that people would have questioned, and I know people said that right away.
Yeah, I said it right away. Not even. I didn't wait for him to pop out. I just didn't get
No,
what the
people
point
were-
of having
people-
Montero on your team was if you're never going to use him, because you're clearly not using him for Posada, because Posada's the only guy hitting.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, you're going to use him to DH against a lefty. That's what he was there for. That's what he's on the lineup for.
And he didn't seem like he didn't know what Posada would get on base, and he would never pinch run for him, because I could tell in his mind he thought Posada's the only guy on my team hitting.
Yeah.
I can't pinch run for this guy unless it's a do or die situation. And so I just didn't. I don't feel like he knew what he was doing. I mean, Swisher, at some point you got to bench him.
Right.
What could be worse? I don't care who it is. Maybe Dickerson. I don't know who was on the bench.
Right.
What could be worse than Nick Swisher constantly getting out?
This was one of the only years that I can remember in recent history where the Yankees didn't go out and add a bat late in the year. They always do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always seem to add a Lance Berkman or somebody that'll make because
I guess
really,
in their mind they added Montero.
I was going to say they added Montero, but he can't play in the field.
Yeah.
You added
I
a bat.
totally agree with you.
You needed to add somebody that can
Someone who
the
can
outfield.
play, who could do something.
They could have added Delman Young. Delman Young was had. I mean, when they made that trade, it wasn't a big trade.
You're exactly
the two
right.
trades we'll get into the Tigers a little later on, but the 2 trades they made kind of flew under the radar with Fister and Delman Young, and that's what won them the series.
You're
And the
totally
Yankees
right.
normally make make that trade to add a bat, to add some veteran bat that can go play the outfield a little bit and do something. I agree with you. I mean, the guy has got 140 at-bats now in the playoffs. Nick Swisher has never done anything. This isn't a small...
That's a significant, yeah.
Yeah, that's a quarter of a season. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's over a quarter of a season.
Nothing against Nick Swisher. There are lots of guys that are good baseball players, and he is a good baseball player. He'll give you 25 homers, 80 RBIs, but he's not a guy you can...
Right.
The difference, you look back to like Scott Brocious and those guys who had moments in the playoffs. Those are the types of guys you need. The guys who can bear down and get a good at bat, and that's what I don't get about A-Rod. A-Rod can't get the ball in the outfield with the bases loaded.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think that you see the teams that do succeed in the playoff now, and it happens. I think it's the teams that have a couple stud hitters and then grinders.
Don Kelly.
The Don Kellys of the world. Even Brandon Inge right now.
Exactly.
A guy like Brandon Inge, that would never happen in the Yankees. What he did this year, what the roller coaster he went through this year. He was down in the minor leagues. They traded for Wilson Betterman because they were like, we don't have a third baseman. He battled all the way back. He had a great series. He scored a run already tonight in a game today. I mean, he's still playing well. It seems like the Yankees that'll never happen for the Yankees. There's no Yankee that's going to be starting at the beginning of the season and go down, take a minor league demotion.
The only guy who was awful and actually produced was A.J. Burnett.
Yeah.
And that was just because they had to pitch him. They wouldn't have pitched it because you're right. They don't even give those types of guys the chance.
Normally they don't. Exactly.
A.J. Burnett had to pitch.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't get the approach, and not at some point you have to say, you know what, it's just not your day.
Yeah.
It's not your day, and we'll get into the Tigers later. But I see the Tigers, the Vila. Like at some point, give the guy a break.
Yeah, the guy played every day.
Yeah.
All season. He's got.
At some point, Swisher's not hitting. I get you're not going to ever take out Teixeira because if nothing else, Teixeira's a great first baseman.
Exactly.
And he's such a good player. But a fringe guy like Swisher, why can't you take that guy?
Yeah,
out?
I mean,
Russell
just think about
Martin.
when they got Swisher, it was a non-deal. Like when they got him a couple years ago, it was a non-deal. It was not like they were all excited. He has given you over the last couple
Andrew
years.
Jones couldn't have hit there.
That's what I'm saying. Andrew Jones is a guy. That's why you have him. I mean, he's got a ton of playoff experience, ton of playoff
I don't
success.
care that he's a righty on the mound. Andrew Jones has hit a righty in his life before.
Right. He's got thousands of at-bats against righties. He can hit a righty. Exactly. I'm with you. I mean, I think I would have liked to have seen Andrew Jones in there, if not because, what was Nick Swisher giving you?
I think that's what gets me is they went out with a whimper, and that's not like the Yankees. The only games they managed to win, and it reminds me of those teams when Giambi was on, was the games that they blow people out. Mm-hmm. And the games that they don't blow people out, they have no shot.
Yeah. Look at their wins. They scored 11 runs and 10 runs.
Yeah.
And the 2 wins. And
They
those are the only times they win.
Yeah, I mean, everyone was like, oh, CC and Verlander will lock up. CC has not pitched well.
Right.
He's not pitched well. Why do people think he's just going to be lights out? He's not.
Right.
He's not like
He's
that.
not Verlander, yeah.
All right, well, when we come back...
Get some NFL. It's time
I
for
can't
NFL
wait. Let's
talk,
do it.
right?
We got a lot to talk about. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
We'll be back with the Tri-State Sports guys.